Good morning, everybody. It's Amy Bennett with the AM Show. So glad that you are here. Happy Tuesday. I was trying to think if there's anything like I needed to share that happened last night. It was a pretty low-key night. The kids have had some sleepovers the past couple nights. I worked. Scott worked last night. So I don't know. It was just a regular Monday, if you will. It's going to be a regular Tuesday. It is somewhat irregular because today is my last day of my 30s. This is it. Tomorrow I turn 40. So last day of being 39. So of course I am still thinking about the last 40 years, because that's what I've been doing for about a month now, is reflecting. And this morning I ran across a verse in Psalm, and it's in Psalm 119. I love Psalm 119. I think it's if I'm correct, it's the longest chapter in the entire Bible, and it's all about God's Word, and it's so great. But I started in that this morning, and a phrase kept jumping out from a couple places, and it says, and I'll just read verse 2 where it comes out, Psalm 119, 2. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. Blessed are those who seek him with all their heart. And as I was kind of reflecting back over these last 40 years, I just have to say there have been times that I feel like I have not sought him with all my heart, that I felt like there were times that I had a divided heart. And I truly feel like now that, I mean, gosh, I don't have it perfect, but I feel like my heart is truly seeking him with the whole thing, with my whole heart. And it has made the biggest difference. And I began to have this kind of picture to try to explain sort of maybe a before and after. I feel like kind of the before was probably in my late 20s. Things really began to change for me. And so it's been about 12 years of this kind of before and after. And I just wanted to kind of see if I could describe this. It's kind of funny in my head, so I hope it like translates as I try to describe it. But this morning I sort of had a vision of my life sort of being like a coffee pot. Okay, here we go. It's sort of like being a coffee pot. And if you imagine the top of the coffee pot, you put the filter in and then you put the grounds in. And for me, life was like that. I was pouring in parts of my life. If you imagine the parts of your life being the coffee grounds, you know, you have different types of coffee. You have decaf, you have regular, you have strong, you have whatever. So you're putting these different things in this filter. And for me, in your life, you know, it's your finances, it's what you eat, it's your job, it's even what church you go to, it's what you read, what you watch on TV, where you go shopping, the relationships you have. All of this is like things that you're putting in. It's like the coffee grounds that you're gonna make some coffee. And it's like, if you imagine that's your life, like you're putting these things, I'm gonna make the coffee is your life, okay? And so you make it from these grounds and you put it, and then this filter filters out, you put it in, the filter filters it out, and that's how you make. And for a long time, what I would say is that filter was me, and I got to decide what got through, what I was making of my life. And you know, I got to decide the grounds and what got through, okay? And I think what shifted for me is that, well, and even I would say that I love Jesus. You know, I've been in church and been saved since I was a little girl. And so, you know, part of those things that I was putting in my life were good Jesus things. And oh man, that was mixed in there. And I tried to make all, you know, all parts of my life, as much as I knew how, to be like Jesus. But it was a lot of striving, right? It was a lot of striving, and it was me trying to figure out what I would allow in and what I wouldn't, and all those stuff. And I think what changed, and I think what changed is that Jesus and God was not just the grounds and a part of my life. It wasn't a part. It wasn't just, you know, siloed, like finances, church, God, you know, all this stuff. God became the filter. He wasn't just something I threw into my life. He became the filter for everything in my life. And so everything I did began to be filtered through God. It wasn't just something that I threw into my life. As part of it, He became the filter that everything went through. And when that begins to happen, you may start making different decisions, because you see, like, God's filter sometimes doesn't allow certain things through it. And I had to stop putting things into my life because it wasn't working anymore. Because when you start to filter things through God's filter, through God, it turns out differently. Things aren't allowed through. And when you're truly looking at your life where God is the filter, you stop doing certain things. And it's not just, okay, I've got my God thing over here and my finances over here. It's because your finances become filtered through God. Say, hey God, what do you want me to do with my finances? You begin to say with your food, hey God, how do you want me to eat? You say, where do you want me to shop? How do you want us to use our time and our possessions? And where do you want us to go to church? And what Bible study do you want me to do? And how would you like me to dress my body? And how would you like me to exercise? And it's not just like him, it's like a, it is a relationship. But it has begun to be everything filtered through him. So God is not just some of the coffee grounds that you pour in your life and you hope you get something. God has to be the filter that you filter everything through, and that has made all the difference. And that is, for me, where I think where it says seek him with all your heart. Seek him with all your heart. He becomes not just part of your life, he becomes the entire thing and what you are filtering everything through. And for me, that has been a journey of letting some things go. I've had to say no to the types of books I was reading. I've had to say no to some TV shows I was watching. I've had to, I don't know if you guys know sort of my history, but I have a long history of fan sites. As I've watched TV and I had fan sites and accounts and all the stuff, I've let a lot of that go. And man, letting go of relationships. But it has also become so much sweeter and so much better with that relationship, as the things that were left, as I gave them over to God, that he really directed me. And I really did, I've tried to filter my whole life through God and his wisdom and his peace, and it makes everything work. It just makes everything work. And that's what I would say about the last 40 years, is that as I've kind of shifted, I think the last 12 years or so, I have seen the before and after, and I know what it's like to believe in Jesus and to really love him and want to do, but also for him to only just be a part of your life. And I think I would have said he was my whole life, but I can see the before and after, and I know what it's like to love Jesus and have that be a big part, and go to church 3 times a week and volunteer and whatever, but still have him be, kind of a silo and just a part of something, and really it all being filtered through me. My life was filtered through me, and like I said, I love Jesus. It wasn't that I was, radically different, but it is a difference when you seek him with your whole heart and everything begins to be filtered through him. So I hope that, that sort of metaphor doesn't totally translate, but I hope it's enough for you to see that when we seek him with all our heart, he becomes everything. And I can say that it has made such a difference, and God has been so sweet to me, even when I've gotten it wrong, even in the past week, because I haven't gotten it all right. Oh my gosh. But it is that relationship, and part of filtering things through him is receiving grace and mercy when we mess up in the parts where we don't get it quite right, because we don't always get it quite right. But I'm so thankful, and I really feel like this is the end of a season for me, not just with the being 39 to 40, but emotionally and spiritually, I really feel like this is sort of an end of a season, and a really good season where God and I have fought some hard battles, and of course because of him we have won against the enemy. And let me tell you, enemy number one right here, battling some of my own stuff, let me tell you. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. I think going into my 40s, I think that it's going to be a new season in a lot of ways, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. So I'm just so grateful to God for leading me, and I would just say for you who want to kind of change that, I mean, I think ask the question, am I filtering everything through God? Am I filtering everything through God? And kind of ask that question. But really it was a process for me, and it really just all about is just saying, God, I want more of you. God, I want more of you. And I promise he will answer that prayer, because that's all it was for me, is that I went through a season where I realized, oh gosh, I do not have things together, and I really, 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 really need God. And I just kept seeking him all the time, and began to give everything over to him. And it wasn't all at once. It's definitely been a process. It'll continue to be a process. Our whole life is going to be a process. But there definitely was a shift where I began to filter things through him, and it really was just him answering the prayer, God, I want more of you. And I think that's, if you want to see that shift in your life, that's what it's all about. It's just, God, I want more of you. He will answer that every single time. And I will tell you, it is going to require some obedience on your part. It's going to require some tears on your part. It's going to require, it's going to be hard, but it's so good. That's the thing. It's like when you're like, God's filter makes some good coffee, y'all. I don't know how else to say that. When God is a filter, it filters out all the stuff you don't need, and the stuff that is left is so good. It's so good, and it's so worth it. So I hope that encourages you today, just to look for more of God in whatever season of life that you are in. I think for all of us, even if we would say that God is our filter, that even then, because once you get a taste of that good coffee, you want more, and you get like, okay, let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. All right, guys, let me see. I want to say good morning to Darian and Marie. Whoops, oh no. Pushed the wrong button. Cynthia, Debbie. Okay, Cynthia says, great analogy of the coffee filter. Okay, so it resonated a little bit. So you got what I was trying to say. You got what I was trying to say. Good. Okay, well, goodness, what's today? Jacob's got more of his therapy today, which Lord willing will go right. We're moving to a different, this is with the neurofeedback, it's not counseling therapy. We're moving to like a new stage of his neurofeedback. So it's a big day, and I just feel like part of that new season is this what God's also doing in our family. And I'm very excited to see what God is going to do through that. And I don't think I have anything else planned. So it's just regular Mondays and Tuesdays here, right? So I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And yeah, we'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye.